Vacancy Legal Recruitment, a refreshingly unique and personal talent agency developed specifically for legal. Dedicated to the sector and with extensive experience working across legal services and legal technology, we bridge the gap between your requirements and top-tier legal talent. Get in touch today and say hello at vacancy.co.uk.
You're listening to the Today's Wills and Probate podcast, one of the leading sources of information for the wills and probate sector. Don't forget to subscribe and sign up to our free newsletter at todayswillsandprobate.co.uk and follow us on LinkedIn and Twitter.
Hello, welcome along to the latest Today's Wills and Probate podcast. Today I am talking about the launch of a new private client firm, part of the Beyond Law Group. This is Vault Private Client, and I have on the podcast with me Russell Kaminski, a partner at the firm, and Lucy Cresswell, an associate. And conversation today is kind of a little bit about where Vault has come from, how it fits into the Beyond model. Beyond, for those of our listeners that aren't aware, has recently been private equity backed as well. So there's some interesting dynamics there, but I'm sure there are some challenges around launching new law firms as well that we'll cover off. So great to have you both on the podcast. Thanks for joining.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Always like to get a feel for our interviewees and who we're chatting to. So in the first instance, Russell, I wondered if you might tell us a little bit about yourself, your background, and what you do at Vault, please.
Yeah, so I'm a partner at Vault. I was a partner at JMW previously. Was there for almost 5 years and trained at another firm called Brabners in Manchester. So I've typically always advised high net worth individuals, often business owners who have business interest. We work together with the corporate team quite a lot on business succession, but we also get a lot of work from family department and property teams as well. So yeah, I've kind of always worked in private client and that area, and I'm from the area, from Manchester, grew up in South Manchester, still here, and yeah, looking to build the department as we grow.
Fab, thank you. And Lucy?
Very similar, also came from JMW, where I was there for about 4 years. Was previously started all the way in an admin role at JMW, worked my way up and was one of the first people to do the SQE 1 and 2. So did my training at JMW and then qualified there. And now I'm an associate at Vault Private Client, which is really exciting. Previously done a lot of probate and estate administration work, heavily based with genealogists, where they'd send us work and we'd deal with intestate estates, but kind of focusing more now on estate planning, so wills, trusts, inheritance tax planning. So all over really, but really have always done private clients, my bread and butter.
Let's get an insight into where Vault has come from. I described it as a new practice, as I say, part of the Beyond Law Group. Where did the idea, or where did the, say that again, how and why did Vault come about, Russell?
Yeah, so as you say, Beyond Law Group, they're a newer firm compared to other firms in the newer group, compared to other practices in the market, but they are looking to grow and expand. And previously they focused on corporate and family law, with the introduction of home property law to cover off high-end residential transactions. And my understanding is that the group recognised that there was a lot of opportunity to send private client work to other firms, to the point where they realised that actually it might make sense to have someone in-house to be doing that work and to be building a private client team. As I'm sure you're aware, the private client market is stronger than ever, especially in the Northwest. There is a huge demand for private client services. And so the firm were looking for someone to start and head up the private client team. And that's where I came in. And it's kind of looking to build a team around myself and Lucy and further grow the department and try and sort of offer something that's slightly different to the way that things have been done for recent years in terms of private client, and do it slightly differently.
Well, I have to dive into that one. What does doing things slightly differently in private client entail? It's an area of law. I often say that an area of law that really doesn't move particularly quickly, given that most of the primary legislation was enacted over 150 years ago.
Yeah, I think that the view on private client, the market from kind of consumers, is that it's a bit of a pain. So people don't want to do their will because they think the process is slow, kind of dull, and it's something that they'll always get round to. But we focus and we're giving a new edge to the market where you should kind of keep an eye on, from the startups to kind of selling businesses and exiting businesses, about your wealth and your assets and how to protect those for your loved ones. So it's a conversation at every point in life, whereas we're trying to show that to people instead of thinking, oh, it's something I do when I'm 70. And I think that is the common theme with private client, that it's a bit archaic, whereas you should see it as more of an entrepreneurial thing. Even if you don't have the same amount as a millionaire, it doesn't really matter because you still got circumstances, and I'm sure everyone wants to leave their inheritance to the right people. So we're just trying to shift the status quo on private client.
Yeah, and I think exactly that. And we're also wanting people to see estate planning as an opportunity rather than a headache. So for everyone, the will that they sign is the most important and valuable document they will ever sign, the most important and valuable contracts they will sign in their lifetimes. And so it scares us sometimes when we hear about unregulated, will writers helping people or appearing to help people with their succession planning, but not necessarily being qualified to do so. And the estate planning piece is so broad in terms of looking at not just what happens to your assets, but how you mitigate inheritance tax, how you make sure that you avoid disputes later down the line, and also looking at how other assets, for example, a family business, passes to the next generation in a really safe and secure manner. So we're trying to emphasize that doing a will is a good thing, it's an exciting thing, it's something that is an opportunity, and also trying to take people on a bit of a journey rather than seeing it as a transaction, which a lot of will writers, it is transactional. We're trying to advise people on a more sort of holistic way.
Yeah, for the future. We want to be like a GP.
Yeah.
So we're here for when you need us.
Exactly. And we're building a network of trusted advisors. I know people use that term quite a lot, but we really are trying to focus on being that family office without being family office. So we have a trusted network of accountants, financial advisors, wealth managers, etc. And we'll have meetings around a table with the client. We don't see them individually and then try and work out what each other have done. We're looking to do a joined up piece of advice, which there will be solicitors that do that already, but I think we're trying to push that more and more. And having the private equity backing has really helped us because it allows us to look long term at building our will bank and building a reputation. We're not just about churning the work out from day one because there is an expectation that it will take time, and therefore we are given the freedom to spend more time with clients and build those lasting relationships.
I remember years ago when it was quite in vogue for law firms to start opening up at the weekend, and in particular on a Saturday. I chatted to a managing partner and they'd just started opening on a Saturday morning. And I sort of said to him, what was the feedback, how had they got on in terms of the footfall and the kind of demographic of people that were coming through the door. And it was really interesting because he said, actually, we've had a whole load of commercial and corporate inquiries because Saturday morning is the time when your businessman isn't working on his business. He does his business Monday to Friday, but Saturday is perhaps in town with the family or whatever it might be. But they were finding that they were getting more corporate and commercial work during that period than anything else. I kind of get a similar vibe here that you're really focused on that style of work and you're niching almost in that area.
Yeah, and I think sort of post-COVID the world has changed in terms of now business owners, they either want to jump on a Teams call at lunch or after work or before work, which we love. Pre-9 o'clock meetings, post 6 o'clock is absolutely fine. We can accommodate those because we all work flexibly now. But having a physical office in Alderley Edge has been an absolute game changer for us. a lot of the business owners in Manchester city centre live in South Manchester, and so they love the fact that they can just pop into the office, or we can go and water their house because we're in the village. And I don't know about you and the contacts you have, but a lot of clients don't want to go into the city centre just for a meeting to talk about their wills. People will avoid going into Spinningfields at all costs if they, unless they have to. And what better place to talk about, the personal side of things than somewhere local to them? Not only that, it offers additional privacy because everyone knows everyone in Spinningfields, and in the city centre, it'll be the same in London in the city. And having this sort of, it's off the high street, but in a lovely office, somewhere that people can come and talk about the most personal matters to them, it's not really been done before. And I think, as I say, that's a unique selling point for Vault.
Yeah. But with the experience of city-based lawyers, so there is high street lawyers that may do everything from selling your house to writing your contracts for your company sale. But we are just niche private client, which builds into the Beyond practice. And that's why we have the Beyond backing, which is kind of a unique offering to every client, because we can do the probate work, but then we can send you that way for the selling of the property. We can send you to corporate to maybe set up a company if you needed to. There's a lot of branches. So we just want to be able to back the clients holistically.
Well, I wanted to drill into sort of how Vault fits into the wider Beyond group, because as we've identified, they've got a resi proposition, they've got a corporate proposition, and they've got a family proposition. So this is a sort of holistic approach to being able to cross-refer people around the organisation.
Yeah, definitely. To the point where you're in the office and it feels like one. So there is just two of us in Vault, but there's about 100 people behind us who can just come up to you and ask you a question. They offer all sorts of things, from kind of establishment of companies, doing shareholder agreements, cross option, to divorce, private family, private children, public sector, all the way to commercial property. So there's everything that you need. I think the only things that there isn't is personal injury and criminal. So it's really nice that Vault can lean on them to offer expertise that we need from them, and they do the same to us.
Yeah, and private client, as we say, it's a booming industry. Everyone needs a will, so everyone that is a client of Beyond and McAllister and Home is a potential client of Vault. It's not like you have to own a property to have a will, and we're not so narrow that we only deal with certain people. Everyone is a potential client of ours.
Yeah.
And I think I know we've been trying to push that message across the group, and the group has been so receptive to that and so supportive. Everyone is looking out for opportunities to send work to us as and when they can.
Yeah.
And as Lucy said, they will come over to us and ask us questions, and that's what we're here to do. It's not just about trying to get work for Vault, it's also supporting the other departments as and when we can. So the commercial property team will often come up to us, with an archaic trust that's got a lease involved and things like that, and we can work together on those pieces. It doesn't mean that client of theirs will necessarily become our client, but it means that we can support and strengthen the offering across the group.
Yeah, and all the groups, they are independent, so we all have our own website, we all do our own branding, which is quite nice because you don't lose that feel. Although there is the backing, each, like McAllister, branding is very different to Bolt, but we're all together as one. But it's quite cool that we have our niche, and hopefully everyone likes our style.
I mean, and for you guys personally, you've both come from a sizable firm in Manchester in JMW, and I'm certainly not asking you to go and talk about any of your previous employers, but what was the draw about Vault for the both of you, and for Beyond? So again, what was the draw about Beyond for the both of you, and for Vault as well?
Yeah, so I think it's all about opportunity. Beyond is quite well known in the market for being, a bit of a game changer. They were one of the fastest growing companies in Europe. That was pre-private equity backing. They've now got private equity backing and therefore are looking to grow even further. It's not a fully established firm in the way that some of the big city centre firms are, that have done their growing and are kind of set up, and they do things the same way, and they continue to do things the same way because they've had that success. we both, and anyone that joins the firm, whether it's admin, or a partner, gets the opportunity to put their stamp on things and to influence the direction of the group.
Yeah.
And the group, in terms of senior management, are so receptive to, people having their different opinions and ideas about how to strengthen the group. And as I say, it doesn't matter what level you're at, that they want everyone to sort of chip in. So for me personally, it was that ambition and opportunity that was so apparent from the first time that I met the different people in the firm, and it's been proven, having been here for over 5 months, that is the case across the group.
Yeah, so same for me. It was an opportunity for me. I thought I was going to just be at city centre and do the ladder that the usual lawyer does, and get to the top one day. But that fire in your belly, I think you want more sometimes, and it doesn't mean that anything's wrong about where you are, but if you've got it in you and an opportunity arises, it was a hard yes from me. But it's really nice culture here. It's very entrepreneurial. It's more than just the law. So it is about having that whole approach, and its personality sells as well as much as your knowledge in the law does.
You mentioned the word culture, and I was going to come on to what does the culture look like for Beyond? You both described really sort of seeing an opportunity within the firm, but there's lots more to culture than just sort of the outward look of the outward look and feel of the website. How does the organization really buy into the culture that it's trying to create, and what does that culture look like?
Yeah,
it's very, very supportive and very down to earth and friendly is how I would put it. Even though there is this, the ship is moving and it's growing and strengthening, it's still incredibly personal and supportive. Everyone knows each other's names. It's you don't walk into a massive office and feel like you're just a number. People will ask you about your hobbies, your interests, or remember things. It's a really nice group of people that have kind of been put together, and I think, I'm not saying there's a type, because there isn't. It's a really diverse mix of people, which I think is what makes it so good. There's not just one person from one background. It's like everyone's come from a different background. They've got a different story. They all have something about them, so they bring something to the table in terms of personality.
I think you can tell that everyone's been cherry picked and has the same adrenaline. Everyone wants to be in work. You'll find that because your culture is your day-to-day job. So some people want to work from home, that's fine. Some people want a 9-5 and go home, that's fine. But here it's about, it's in your life, so you enjoy. I know my life's changed since I've worked here, and you just feel inspired every day. And the people at the very top, they're wandering around and asking you questions, which is just so refreshing. I just think the young culture now that are doing training contracts and paralegals need inspiring. And I don't think there's a better law firm, that could do that as much as Beyond has.
I think one of the other elements of the culture that I've seen from an outsider's point of view, I'm not an insider in the organisation, but from an outsider's point of view, touching on what you said there about some of the differences that you're trying to create in the market, is a sort of a real business development kind of attitude that the Beyond Group has had. It's very proactive, isn't it? You don't seem to wait for the work to land on your lap.
No.
Exactly that, and some of the events that you may have seen online, we've done sort of golf days, paddle days, and the people that have come away from that have been so positive about the way that it was hosted. We have an incredible marketing team who are really amazing at what they do.
Yeah.
It's not just a case of putting in some leaflets and a branded water bottle. The things that people come away with from these events are really interesting pieces of sort of collateral that I think people have absolutely loved. It's moving away, as I say, from the kind of corporate sort of breakfast and seminar and lunch and learn to more of actually let's go out and do a hike, let's do a fitness class, let's do something artistic. And if we happen to talk about business along the way, great. If we don't, that doesn't matter either. It will come at some point later down the line. So there's none of this pitching or presenting. It's about people and making sure that we like the people that we're working with and we get on. And it's so much more than just the law or just accounting for people that, doing accountancy that we know.
Yeah.
And I think our launch event is probably, sort of telling of that, which Lucy can tell you all about.
So we're having a launch event for Volt, which is an official launch party at the Ferrari garage in Winslow. So that's an opportunity for us to kind of celebrate what's happened in the past 6 months. But the people that will come to that are people that mean a lot to us. It's not that we just send an invite to who we want there because they do X, Y, Z, but it's about people who help us. We find that work has come from not just advisors, so friends, networks, random people coming through the door, and then word of mouth from people that we are advising in South Manchester and things. So it's an opportunity for us to basically get everyone in a room and think about how far we've come and hopefully for the future as well. But we did start with nothing at the beginning, so we started from scratch, and winning work in Beyond as well, not just in Volt, is very much fighting for it, and it's building relationships with people, because you don't want to be able to build a relationship, you have to give work back to people, and we don't want to be those people that just take and doesn't give. So we want that trusted little network of advisors that we can trust and we know will do the right job the way that we do it. So that's kind of the aim, and we've tried to build those relationships quite well.
Yeah, and it's also online presence has been important for us. So private client lawyers historically have probably not put themselves out there in the same way that we are trying to do. I think generally the market is moving in the right direction and people are getting better at that. But I think education and sort of showcasing what private client means and what it can do for people is really important.
Yeah.
And trying to get next generation or those that wouldn't otherwise think about doing their wills and estate planning to really open their eyes and see that there is opportunity, as I say, to create something by doing a will. So we do a lot of educational pieces. We do a lot. We're doing podcasts. We're doing blogs online and things like that. But not just about the really sort of technical stuff. Trying to make people think about how it really applies to their personal situation and their lives on a daily basis. The joined up approach is really good as well, as in we've done a lot of joined up business development events with other departments. They then invite us to theirs, we'll invite them to ours. And as Lucy said, the firm is really supportive. They really want to back us and the whole group to do business development, regardless of what stage you're at. We don't just rely on the name necessarily. We're a newer firm across the group, and therefore it's really important that the people that come to Beyond are keen to go out there and win the work and not just wait for it to arrive. And that's, as you touched on before, David, that's part of the culture of the firm. It's people who want to go out there and make something of it.
Yeah, because there's a lot of conferences that we all go to every year, and there's seminars and breakfasts and all that stuff, but you've got to get back something from those events. There's no point just going to them so you've got something to put on your CV. Everything that we do has a meaning, and it's about getting the most. You get back what you put in, and we think about it. So that's paid off, and I think that's why we've done so well.
Two kind of thoughts come to mind as you're talking there. First is that there aren't an awful lot of organisations who've got the flexibility to perhaps be quite as patient as you have, on the basis that there's a real demand for work from day one, particularly when you're starting up. I mean, obviously, the backing of the private equity will help on that front. And the second thing that comes to mind is that you've both built quite strong personal profiles as well, and that seems also to be a feature of Beyond. I mean, for example, Amanda McAllister, I know, is a sort of a regular contributor on national television, isn't she? She appears, I've seen her on IT, I've seen her on This Morning a few times.
Yeah, exactly that. So it's about more than just the law, it's the lawyer. It's like if you have a financial advisor, you could go to any bank or anything, but you choose the person that you trust to manage your money. And I think it's the same. We're both fairly well known in the market because we put ourselves out there. We've got stuff to say. Same as Amanda, she's got a lot to say, and that's why she gets out there and people know about her. And she's got just got a voice, basically.
Yeah, I think people want to know that if they come to Vault, who they're going to be dealing with. They don't just want to be passed to someone else that they've never heard of or never met. So we want to, even as we grow, we want to ensure that people know who they're going to be dealing with from day one. But as you say, having a brand and a personal brand helps with that. So when people come into the firm Vault as we grow, they will be encouraged to do the same, so that they can be found online. People can see what their experience is, what their expertise is. As I say, it's all about moving towards being more transparent, and I think that's important across law in general. So rather than sort of hiding behind a very short profile on a website, we want to make sure that people know what they're buying into. And we're not hiding anywhere. We'll tell people what we're about. We'll publicise that.
Yeah.
And we want people to know, don't feel like they know us before we've even met.
With that in mind, have you guys engaged hugely with things like online review platforms? Because they're increasingly important, in my view, in legal services.
Yeah, so I think at the moment we are on, it took a while to set up, but we're now on Google, so Google reviews, which we've started to send people the link, when we've done work for them, and we're in the process of being set up on Review Solicitors, I think it is.
Yeah.
So Beyond as a group, they're all on there, so we will be on there in time as well.
Yeah.
But like you say, it's really important that, it's like tradespeople, until you speak to them, you don't know what they're like and what they do.
But reviews are really helpful.
Yeah.
But we're trying to steer away from that sales lawyer. We don't we do care, but also I care more about the client. So if it's going to ruin the relationship for me to say, can you give me a review? I'd rather not. But it will pay off in the long term. But things like awards, British Wills and Probate Awards, things like that. So that's really useful for people to get to know us. But I'm sure the reviews will come in time.
Yeah, and word, as this is alluding to, word of mouth is worth 10 times a 5-star review on Google to us. If someone speaks to their friend or family member and recommends us, that's the best review we can possibly ask for.
We're fast coming towards the end of the time we have for our discussion. I wanted to just touch on some final thoughts around short, medium and long-term plans for the firm. I sense that you're in a real sort of growth phase. You've got a consolidation to an extent, in the sense that you've launched and you're sort of trying to get the word out, but you're really sort of trying to grow the business at this point in time.
Yeah, so long term, that will be a combination of organic growth, so taking people, at a junior stage, training them up, making sure that they've had good quality training and progressing them to trainee solicitor, etc. But there will also be sort of lateral hires. It's likely that the firm will acquire other firms in the future, and the ambition and goal is to be the leading boutique law firm for private client across the country. So whilst it's early days now, it will probably happen sooner than most people listening to this are expecting. And that will be a combination of local firms, but also we will have a presence in London in due course, and then regionally across the country as well. But making sure that we maintain that boutique feel is the sort of the optimum approach for us. We don't want to be a big national or international firm with an international feel. We want it to feel almost like a high street firm wherever you're dealing with us, but we will be dealing with high net worths, etc., on a local level. So that's the ambition, that's the goal. In the short term, as you say, consolidate, make sure people know who we are and what we're about, and then it will be expanding that across the country as time goes on.
Exactly that. I don't think I can add to that. It was amazing.
And I mean, by extension, your personal ambitions are sort of attached to that. Then you're looking to grow with the firm and realise the opportunity that's clearly here.
Yeah, so it is just us two at the moment, and we work so well together. So on a personal, ambitious level, I don't know if we'll ever stop being ambitious. So just kind of keep going really, and just make sure that we we do the best for us and for our clients, and make everyone know that we are hopefully the new private client lawyers. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think as well in time as we recruit junior members of staff, we sort of impart that knowledge on them, that approach on them as well. But also we hope that they'll bring something different to the team. We don't want to dictate how things are done in the future. We love people challenging us. In the past, if junior members of staff have suggested a new way of doing things, we're all ears. We're not about telling people how to do it a certain way just because we've done it that way. So we'd love to offer our guidance and expertise and the way that we do things to people and help them. But at the same time, we're excited to hear from a diverse mix of people in the future and see what they can bring to the table as well.
I've done a couple of podcasts recently with organisations and firms who have been either the recipient of private equity or have been involved in private equity investment in law, and I sense there is almost a shift kind of happening. There is a requirement, quite understandably, from these investors that firms pay back what has been invested in them and more, of course. So I recognise that within Beyond you're going to come under pressure. There's no doubt about it. But at the same time, I sense that you're probably prepared for that as well. It's been great to have you both on the podcast. I'm very appreciative of your time, and I wish you all the very best with Vault as it develops.
Thank you, and thanks for the opportunity. Today's Wills and Probate podcast is something that we talked about at an early stage. So yeah, thank you. I'm really happy to be here.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
Today's Wills and Probate podcast is available on your preferred podcast provider. It's also available on todayswillsandprobate.co.uk. My thanks to Russell and to Lucy. Thank you as ever for listening, and we'll see you again soon.